Hi, I'm Steve G. Jones, clinical hypnotherapist, and I want to tell you a little bit about myself before we get started. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology from the University of Florida, a master's degree in education from Armstrong Atlantic State University, and a doctorate in education from Georgia Southern University. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist, a member of both the American Board of Hypnotherapy and the National Guild of Hypnotists, and I'm president of the American Alliance of Hypnotists. I'm the director of the Steve G. Jones School of Clinical Hypnotherapy. I also serve on the board of directors of the American Lung Association in Los Angeles. I have over 2 decades of experience in hypnotherapy, and I still maintain a busy practice and teaching schedule because I see clients and teach classes worldwide. My client base consists mainly of people who want to lose weight, stop smoking, or gain confidence. Other clients include sales teams interested in boosting motivation and increasing income. Also, singles looking for love, insomniacs desiring proper sleep, and actors desiring more confidence for their next audition. When I travel to see clients and teach hypnotherapy certification classes around the world, I visit such places as Tokyo, Japan, Barcelona, Spain, Paris, France, London, England, Montreal, Canada, Los Angeles, California, and New York, just to name a few. By the way, since you have an interest in hypnosis, perhaps you would be interested in becoming a certified clinical hypnotherapist. It's very easy to do. All you have to do is go to my website, betterlivingwithhypnosis.com, and click on Hypnosis Classes at the top. You can either train in person or online. After your training, you'll be added to our worldwide directory of certified clinical hypnotherapists, and you'll receive a certificate. I was fortunate for many years to have my office in Beverly Hills, California, where I worked with such wonderful people as Tom Mankiewicz, the writer of Superman, Geraldine Saunders, the writer of The Love Boat, and many other celebrities. I have been interviewed on CNN, Fox News, and appeared on True TV, in addition to having my own hypnosis TV show. With my over 20 years of experience, I'm happy to share with you techniques that I've both developed and learned, which can help you improve your life. I encourage you to visit my website, betterlivingwithhypnosis.com. There you will find my life's work, 22 books on hypnotherapy, over 3,000 hypnosis recordings available as downloadable MP3s or CDs, and these recordings will program your mind to achieve goals in such areas as weight loss, motivation, and stopping smoking. I also have audiobooks, such as this one, where I'm talking with you and sharing with you in a very dynamic way techniques that you can use to improve your life and the way you do things. The reason I'm telling you all of this is not to impress you, but to impress upon you that I, your teacher, am very capable and I know what I'm talking about. I'm also very happy for the opportunity to share this information with you, so rest assured that you're in good hands, and let's have some fun as we now expand your knowledge. I wish you well in all of your endeavors, and please be sure to visit my website, betterlivingwithhypnosis.com. Qi, spelled C-H-I, is the life force energy that keeps all of us alive and keeps all of us connected to one another. Qi is everywhere. It surrounds all living things and fills all living things. It's also in the sun, the planets, the solar system. Qi is everywhere. And different cultures through time have named Qi different things. In India, Qi is called prana, and the spelling in English for that would be P-R-A-N-A. And it's interesting to note that in many cultures, when you read about their medicinal practices, the way they heal their people, they talk about strengthening the inner power of the person. Though they don't always call it Qi, they're always referring to the inner power of the person, how important it is to have this vital energy. Specifically in ancient China, the Taoists, and the English spelling is Taoists, Taoists, spelled with a T but pronounced with a D. The Chinese Taoists explored Qi and how it could help people live better and healthier lives. And from that, they created a system of medicine, Chinese medicine, strongly focuses on qi. Let's take a look at the word Tao, T-A-O, a little more closely. Taoism is one of the world's oldest spiritual teachings. It's a body of teaching. It's alive and well today, but it's an ancient body of knowledge. The Tao specifically is about the path that an individual takes as they move forward in their lives toward enlightenment, toward knowing everything and understanding everything and intuitively being one with the universe and feeling that inside, feeling that intuitively, that oneness. You may have heard of the I Ching. The English spelling is I, and then the next word is Ching, C-H-I-N-G, spelled I Ching, but pronounced I Ching. This is sort of a map, if you will, that shows how the energy system of the entire world is laid out. And when I talk about the world, I'm not just talking about Earth, I'm talking about the solar system and the universe as well. In fact, if you've had the honor and pleasure of reading the book by Lao Tse, spelled L-A-O, next word T-S-E, Lao Tse, that's the author, and the book is called Tao Te Ching, T-A-O, next word T-E, next word C-H-I-N-G, Lao Tse's Tao Te Ching. You will find wonderful writings about how to live and how to process certain events. And it's interesting that it was written so long ago, yet it is so relevant at every point in everyone's life and throughout every generation. I remember initially reading it when I was in my teens. I was probably about 17 when I first read it. And now that I'm past the age of 40, it still applies to me as much as it did then. Sure, I get different lessons when I read it, and I have different understandings of what it says, but the lessons are just as powerful for me now as they were then, because it's a timeless masterpiece. In fact, it's so popular that next to the Bible, it is the second most translated book in the world. And as you read through it, it's about an old man thinking back about the lessons that he learned from his life. It's unfortunate that in modern Western culture we don't place more of an emphasis, and I'm not just saying this as I grow older. It is unfortunate. I've thought this for years. It's unfortunate how we don't place more of an emphasis on the learnings that older people have. Sometimes we look at older people as done. You know, they've finished their lives, they lived their lives, get out of the way, make room for the youth. However, the teachings of the Tao and the teachings of Qi, which I'm going to share with you, come from a culture which strongly emphasizes the value of its elderly. Elderly sounds like such a weak word. I prefer that we call them elders because that sounds more powerful, more sophisticated, as if they've reached something instead of degraded down to something. Elderly sounds like they've degraded down to something elderly that is not worthy any longer. Elders sounds like a council, sounds like a select few. I picture older people, men and women, standing in white robes, the council of the elders. That's the mental image I get when I think of the word elders. But elderly makes me think of nursing homes and old people walking around on canes and nobody really caring about them. So the Chinese tradition is very important to understand here when we look at Qi and when we look at the Tao, because they honored the wisdom of people who had lived an entire lifetime. They went through it all and they had something to say about it, some advice for those just beginning. So that is the essence of what I am going to share with you. I'm going to take the wisdom of the elders and share it with you so that you, at whatever point you find yourself in your life, can gain valuable wisdom and insight. Understand how to, in particular in this program, use energy to enhance your life, but you're also going to find in this program powerful tips for just living a powerful life in general. And it's all thanks to elders. Now, getting back to Lao Tse, who wrote Tao Te Ching, he emphasized softness. Do you know what that means? That means taking a challenge, something that seems daunting to you, and finding a way to overcome it with patience, with gentleness. And if you can allow that into your life, that idea of overcoming obstacles, challenges, problems, I like to call them challenges, by the way. Obstacles is a great word also, because obstacles sounds like you're in an Olympic event and there are obstacles, maybe they're hurdles and you're running and jumping over them. Challenges sounds like you're being tested and you're going to overcome. You're challenging yourself, you're being challenged. And when you have a challenge, you can have a victory. But problems, when you have a problem, well, you've got a problem. It's, what are we going to do with the problem? It's just, I want to try to get you out of that if I can. The idea of calling problems, okay, maybe they are problems, but call them challenges or obstacles. That way you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. You can see the gold medal for overcoming and doing a really wonderful job of overcoming. Once you jump those hurdles the right way, you will be rewarded. So from now on, problems aren't problems. Sure, they are problems in essence, but call them challenges and call them obstacles. Make it exciting and fun to overcome them. Well, one of the challenges, as pointed out in the Tao Te Ching, is the challenge of balancing your real world life, your everyday life where you interact with people and you go to your job or your career or whatever you do, and your spiritual life. So many people have a conflict with the two. Here I am meditating, feeling good in the morning, and then I go out into the real world and it just goes crazy. How many people do you know who are like that? They can have a peaceful life while they're in the protective barrier of their homes, but once they get out, things aren't so stable. They're kind of chaotic. Maybe you're like that. I tend to be like that from time to time. I think every one of us at some point, and some people every day all the time, will experience a conflict between spiritual living and doing what you have to do in the real world. That's an interesting concept, isn't it? The real world. People talk about the real world. Oh, wait till you get in the real world. You're going to find out what it's all about. Well, I think one of the steps toward balancing the two would be to realize that the real world is happening all the time. The real world doesn't happen when you go to work. The real world doesn't happen when you show up to your career. The real world doesn't happen when you go to school or encounter a challenge. The real world is all the time. So rather than thinking about all these stresses that are going to happen in the real world, realize that everything's real as it can get, and that includes your spiritual life. So that can help you bridge the gap between this calmness you may feel at some times and the stress you may feel at other times when you realize that you can always have that calmness. It's all real. So work on creating that bridge between those times when you feel calm and those times when you are interacting with people and would normally perhaps feel stressed. And by the way, that's an NLP technique, a neuro-linguistic programming technique, reassigning an association. If you have an association between being at work or doing whatever it is you do in your official capacity in this world, work, student, career, whatever it may be, if you have an association between that and feeling stressed out, if you feel stressed out when you do what you do, you have created an association. You have programmed your mind or had your mind programmed with an association between what you do and stress. Well, there's no logical connection because there are other people who do whatever it is you do that you feel stressed out about without feeling stress. And you've probably seen those people and you've probably wondered what's wrong with them. Are they even awake? But maybe, just maybe, they've tapped into something that you should tap into, which is a serenity that you can bring into every part of your life. What if you could be calm all the time? Now, I want to propose to you that you should feel a little worked up sometimes. I mean, you are human. Some things are going to get to you. That's just the way it is. but you can have access to this calming energy at all times. Every part of your life can have this blanket of calmness that can soothe it. That's what a proper study of qi offers. So rather than being some otherworldly spiritual endeavor that only applies to the times when you're alone and you can go off into the woods, study of qi actually applies to every part of your life. I want to tell you that I know from firsthand experience that you can use qi to enhance your physical health, to enhance whatever it is you do in this world, and to enhance your spiritual life. Now, hopefully, by the end of listening to this program, you'll realize that your spiritual life is happening all the time. But some people have them so compartmentalized that their spiritual life is over here, maybe at a certain time, and their real life is over here. So your spiritual life can be enhanced so much that it's going to spread out to your entire life. So get ready to enhance your spiritual life, your health, and your ability to do what you do in this world, your ability to contribute to this world at a higher level through proper understanding and use of qi. So let's talk about awakening your qi. Waking up the qi that's already inside you. Remember, qi is everywhere, but you have personal qi. You have energy that is inside you that you can awaken. And by the way, once you awaken it, you'll find that your mind, body, and spirit become one. They start functioning together because your energy, once you awaken it, binds everything together. And this has nothing to do with your age or your health condition. Some people might think, well, I'm older, so qi is harder to raise. Or I have some health issues, so qi is harder to raise, harder to elevate qi. That's not correct. No matter what your situation, you can awaken your qi. Chinese medicine believes that by awakening your qi, by invigorating yourself, you can actually slow down the aging process. I also want you to know that when you awaken your qi, you can integrate it into other things that you do, because qi is an essential part of so many different practices. Specifically, you're going to find that it helps with meditation, martial arts, yoga, qigong, tai chi. But what you do that incorporates qi doesn't have to have the word qi in it, and it doesn't have to be any form of yoga or meditation or martial art. It simply has to be something in which energy is important, and that's almost anything. Running, jogging, biking, sitting for long hours in an office. You need energy for almost everything that you do. So later on, we're going to talk more in depth about awakening your qi, but I wanted you to know that when you awaken it, it's going to help so many aspects of your life. Perhaps you know people who are psychic, who have ESP, extrasensory perception, or perhaps you're one of those people. I believe that everyone, to some degree, has psychic abilities, but I'm talking about the people, and maybe you're one of these people, who have really developed it, who have really gone to the next level, and can read other people's minds. Do you realize that in these cases, qi is involved? The energy that is inside the other person has connected with your energy if you're the one who is psychic. And if it's two other people who are psychic, then their energies are connected. You see, we often think of ourselves as isolated entities just living in this world, and we're individuals and we live completely separately from other people. Well, that on so many levels is simply not true. Think about air. Air is all around us. Now, we think of air as something that's, since it's invisible, it's pretty much not there. But we breathe in air. Air contains oxygen. Air can contain pollution. Qi is all around us just like air. And it's inside of us just like air. We breathe air in, and we take in the oxygen, and we let go of the carbon dioxide. There are a lot of things going on. There are a lot of different types of air, a lot of different things we can breathe in. We can inhale smoke. I hope you don't smoke. But people who do smoke inhale 4,000 terrible substances into their bodies. Well, start thinking of qi in the same way that you think about air. There can be positive qualities to air. It can have just enough oxygen for us. There can be negative qualities to air. It can have too much pollution. Qi is all around us just like air. And it can have positive qualities, positive energy, and it can have negative qualities, negative energy. So when you connect with someone else psychically, it's almost as if you're breathing their air. It's almost as if the air that they exhale, you inhale. Now, you don't have to be right next to someone in order to pick up on their qi, in order to read their mind. You can read it over distance because distance doesn't matter. But the concept is the same. It's an energy that you're picking up on, just like you would pick up on air. Now, at this point, you may be wondering, where is this qi? If I can see air by putting smoke into it, you can see the smoke floating around in the air, then I should be able to see qi. I mean, if you're saying that qi is the same as air, I should be able to see it. Well, qi exists in what's called the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension is at a higher vibratory rate than what you normally experience. Everything you see around you with your eyes, unless you have psychic abilities to see auras and such, everything you see on this earth plane is in the three-dimensional world. Qi exists in the fourth dimension at a higher vibratory rate. So in most cases, most people will not see qi. And it's interesting how people who study qi, the Taoists, and people who study physical science, the physicists, agree on this. That there are particles which exist beyond what we can see, yet they are crucial in our everyday life, and we don't even know. We take them for granted. They are part of the subatomic world, yet they connect and they bind everything together, and they're everywhere in the universe. Physicists would call them subatomic particles. Taoists would call them qi. So let's take a look inward now. Qi flows through you, just like a current, electrical current flowing through you. And just like an electrical current, qi will take the path of least resistance. Have you ever had one of those days where everything just flows? Everything just flows for you. It seems like you have the Midas touch. Everything you touch just turns to gold. You don't even know why it is, but it seems as if you had to conquer the world that day, you could. You could just go out and do whatever you wanted to do, and it would somehow work out, and you know that. And you use as much of this power or as little as you feel like using that day, but you know that everything you do is just going to turn out great. You have a great attitude, you have great energy, everything is just flowing. Well, think about that concept for a minute. Everything is just flowing. Everything just flows in your life that day. Or perhaps you have a week or a month or maybe even a whole lifetime of that where everything just flows. When you are tuned in to your life force, to the life nurturing energy that is qi, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel alert, you're going to feel alive, you're going to feel strong, you're going to feel forceful. You're going to feel like you're there in your life. That's when your qi is flowing freely. Now, we've all had those other kinds of days when our qi is blocked. What happens on those days? Well, everything just kind of crumbles. Everything just kind of falls apart. I strongly believe in the law of attraction. In fact, I wrote a book with health advocate Frank Mangano called You Can Attract It. And it took us 2 years to write, but it's about the law of attraction and how when you wake up in the morning, if you think positive thoughts, positive things will happen. If you think negative thoughts, negative things will happen. And you can build a whole lifetime just from the thoughts you have when you wake up in the morning. That's what the book You Can Attract It is about. But the Taoist way of looking at that would be a blockage in your qi flow. As a hypnotherapist, I'm inclined to look at things in terms of how I feel about my life, how I feel about others. Positive affirmations mean a lot to me. Negative affirmations can be just as powerful. I can do it, and I can't do it can be just as powerful if I focus on one or the other. So simply put, as a hypnotherapist, I like to have people focus on, I can do it. That's the hypnotherapeutic way of looking at things. You're programming your subconscious mind. The Taoist way of looking at things, the same identical type of situation, would be the qi is flowing or the qi is not flowing. When the qi is flowing, that means you're focusing on I can do it. When the qi is not flowing, that means you're focusing on I can't do it. So let's look further into this I can't do it idea. I don't even like using the word can't. But I want you to understand how powerful negativity can be so that you can avoid it. Think about, if you will, a strong, flowing river. When that river is flowing nicely, everything's fine. In fact, you may not even realize that it's a strong flowing river. You may just look at it as some water, not realizing just how powerful a current is. But let's say for a moment that someone builds a dam, and they build it across the river. Let's say they could build it in an instant, and suddenly it's there. And it's a very high dam, so the water won't go over it. What happens? The water backs up. The water starts flowing out of the river onto the surrounding land, flooding the area. And what happens beyond where the dam is? Not much. It dries up. There's no water reaching it. Does any of this sound healthy or positive? No, it's all negative. When you stop the flow of qi in your life, a lot of negative things happen. So think about your body in those terms. Think about your body as a river. What would happen physically to your body if the flow of qi happened to be interrupted? Well, think about systems in your body. What if your blood flow were interrupted? What if your nerves were interrupted? What would happen on the other side? Not much. There's nothing reaching the other side of wherever the interruption is. Can you see how this could contribute to illness, both physical and mental? Can you see how this would relate to just feeling bad? I want you to think about a sports team now as an illustration. Now, let's take American football, because it's been so popular in so many movies. So let's take American football as an example. You have 4 quarters, and they are divided in half by something called halftime. 2 teams compete against each other for 2 quarters, and then they have a break called halftime, and then they compete for 2 additional quarters. Halftime is the thing of movies, the halftime pep talk. What are you doing? What's going wrong? Let's get out there and win. If the team is losing and halftime comes around, the coach's job is to go to the locker room and give the team a pep talk. And then the team, hopefully, will respond. Well, let's say in our story that the game is your life, and halftime is the time at which you find out about this knowledge. Right now is halftime for you, and you're learning the knowledge of qi. You're getting a pep talk from me. I'm the coach right now. You're in the locker room. It's halftime. Things have been going okay, but they could be better. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to a program about qi. If there's nothing to improve in your life, then why would you be interested in self-improvement? Naturally, there's something that can be better. Here is your halftime talk. This whole program is your halftime pep talk. What you do when you get back out on the field for those 2 remaining quarters is up to you. The coach doesn't run out on the field and make the quarterback throw the ball a certain way. The coach doesn't run out on the field and receive the ball and run for a touchdown. All the coach can do is yell and advise and hope and pray, and then watch from the sidelines. Watch what happens. Well, unfortunately, I don't even have the luxury of watching how you perform in the next 2 quarters. But hopefully you'll go out there and you'll win the game. Well, let's take that down to a different level now. Let's focus in a little bit. That can happen in your day. In the middle of your day, you can stop yourself. You can be your own coach and say, wait a minute, the chi is not flowing. Chi isn't flowing here. I need to do something that's going to change things. And if you can change your mind, if you can change your attitude, if you can change the way you feel about your possibilities, you'll have a better day. Here's one way to know if you're on the right track, if your chi is where it should be. Do positive people make you mad? Think about that for a minute. When you see somebody who's happy and cheery, I don't mean someone who's pretending to be happy and cheery. I mean someone who's genuinely cheerful from their heart. They're full of cheer. And they share that with the world. They share that with you. And every time you see them, hey, how you doing, so-and-so? Yeah, great. Do those people make you mad? Do those people upset you? Now, why is that? That's a psychological principle kicking in. It's the same thing as when you see your friends successful. When you see your friends successful in what they do, does that make you upset? Does that make you think, I could have been that successful? Or does that make you say, yes, that's exactly what I'm going to do with my life. I'm going to be successful just like him or just like her. What is your reaction? Is it one of jealousy and bitterness? Or is it one of, yes, I relate to that? When you see the happy person, the genuinely happy person, what is your reaction? If it's a negative reaction, then I want you to do some soul searching. I want you to look inside. I want you to see what it is about you that's making you resent someone who's genuinely happy. Why would you do that? Chances are you have a chi blockage. Chi blockage. You're blocking your own energy, so you're resenting other people who don't. People who can flow, people who can let it all hang out, people who can really enjoy life. You're blocking your own chi, and you're resenting others who are not.